You have to prepare it. You got to cube it and then kind of like push it out. Mandarin, it's just like rip it open, half of it in the bid, half of it in your gob.
That's an insane argument. That's like saying that, a Bentley is not a better car than
I wouldn't know.
that thing that you drive.
Well, he
that,
would
that
know.
the
He's got a
competition,
Honda,
gave out 2 weeks
What?
ago.
No, I've never driven a Bentley, so I can tell you.
It's not about the difficulty of the eat. It's about the
It
quality.
definitely comes into it.
Yeah, if you're looking for something like to
Nobody
snack
wants
on the go.
unshelled prawns. Unshelled prawns suck.
If someone
Specifically because you have to
if someone said to me, "Would you prefer to be a mandarin or a mango?" I would take a mango every day of the week. I would want to be a mango. A mango has integrity. My God. Anyway,
Does it?
How good's a mandarin though?
Yeah, actually,
real
so
good.
like a good one.
are
Top
good.
tier.
No pips, real juicy.
Yeah.
Oh, banger.
Hey, man.
How are you, buddy?
Play-Doh.
We've got a bunch of Play-Doh. Welcome to the OPL. We're going to play some League of Legends today, but also we are going to create TFT Legends.
With our styling
Molding clay.
Yeah, well, yes, with molding clay, with different combinations of flour and water and dye. We've got a stack.
colour.
There's a ton of it.
We have little cutouts. Nice. We got little boys. We can hold these ones up to the camera. Don't worry.
And so,
Butterfly.
and so,
Nice.
throughout the evening, we'll just make a bunch and see what happens. So we can make our favorite TFT legends, or we can make custom ones. You know,
So the penguin.
things that we would like to see. Yeah, I mean, the penguin is my favorite. Penguin's your favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you like the penguin? Because I've asked people and I've got different answers.
The noises.
No, see that's the wrong answer. The best thing about the penguin is when you move your pieces around, especially on the bench, and he's like, "Woo!"
Yeah.
And he's like knight to b4, like to.
It's the same thing. It's my like weird thing where I like tiny, innocent, innocuous little things that
penguins.
actually will like F you up.
You know what
And,
it is,
like,
though?
That's what the penguin
It's the
is.
run. Like, have you played an ARAM with the penguin
true.
following you?
true.
Like,
No,
sprints
no.
after you, his little legs waddle really fast.
Yeah.
Looks amazing.
And it's got the little
Scarlet.
cape as well that does some billowing. Yeah, I got one of those
Yeah.
like particle-y effect ones. I got a top tier one. So yeah,
what is it?
3-star.
Oh, like a
The-
penguin.
yeah,
okay.
the pink one.
I got the little emo little dude. What's it? He makes like.
I can't remember his name, but yeah.
Oh,
he makes
the
that noise.
Spooky, scary
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really
Hauntling,
regret
Hauntling.
doing that, but like
Is
it's
it your
pretty
Skarner
accurate.
again?
No, it's the Hauntling. It's the little emo
Yeah.
Hauntling.
Can you only do one impression and you just roll it out for all things?
I'm actually a top tier impressionist. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna lie.
What else can you do?
It's not for this moment right now.
Okay, we'll ask you in the next segment.
We'll keep them out.
Before we get to all the TFT building, though, we do have League of Legends games to get to. Let's take a look at who will be playing today. First up, Chiefs take on Avant. Rank 1 v Rank 4. Direwolves taking on Mammoth for game number 2. Gravitas versus Order for game 3. And Bombers v Legacy for game 4. Boys. I mean, those first 3 games have pretty big implications for both teams. The last one, obviously, if Bombers lose, that's a bigger deal than if Legacy do. But what are we saying is game of the day?
I mean, for me, I'm looking at the first game, obviously. I mean, it's another must-win game for everyone, though. So, like, across the board, Order, can they get wins as well against AV as they're catching up to them now? Direwolves trying to stay ahead, have one game between them as well. So, really important day for, honestly, every team.
Yep.
And I'm just looking at all of the middle-of-the-pack teams throughout the day.
And I think also the big thing is that if you take a look at the results from yesterday, like a lot of them probably are expected, but not in the fashion we've seen. We've seen like Chiefs be super dominant. That was a little bit of an edge case we saw yesterday. Like Mammoth looked close, and like yes, you're talking about like the middle of the pack wants to be catching yada yada. Direwolves almost got that one. AV almost got that one. So these guys just want to cement themselves, and it does look like it is getting closer towards the top.
And then that top indeed will be playing out at MEO at the end of the month. We're going. We want you guys to come along as well. The Melbourne Esports Open. For your tickets, head to melbourneesportsopen.com.au/tickets. The grand final is on the Saturday, the whole weekend, an enjoyable romp.
I haven't been. I'm really excited to go.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get to go last time. It looked awesome.
It's only the second one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great weekend. Heaps of fun. Just a stack of esports. There's a bunch of other tournaments on. League is the best one. Come along to that.
Objectively,
Objectively.
in our subjective opinion.
No, objectively.
Yeah, just objectively. It's just
Yeah, but it should be a hell of a weekend, so we'd love to see you guys there. I hear the couch is going to be popping. That's right.
Popping right up into the sky.
And I literally mean popping. I'm worried that we're setting it up way too much now, Jake. And from what I've heard from the production staff, none of this is going to happen.
You know what? Ben Simmons is in Melbourne at the moment.
Just saying.
I heard he's on the couch.
Can he even fit on the couch? That's my question. All right. Ben Simmons is an NBA player. Okay. Yeah.
Plays for Philadelphia, Bryce. He's a Melbourne boy.
He's in Melbourne. Yeah, he's very good. He just got paid a ludicrous amount of money, like $300 million. And he can't shoot, which is a really interesting point to make.
Because seems like a
basketball players.
crucial skill to have in the NBA.
Do you know people like this though? Because apparently he thinks he's right-handed, but everyone else thinks he's left-handed.
Yeah, right.
Oh, one of those ambidextrous freak people. That
No,
can do
and-
But
both.
he's not
Well,
ambidextrous
no, one
because
is
he
natural,
can't do
but he
it.
seems better with the other.
Yeah.
So when he like layups and like takes like very short hook shots and like jumpers with his left hand, his accuracy is so much higher with his left hand than his right.
Can you imagine just changing hands and becoming like
Discovering
infinitely
you're
better
better.
at like just everything? In
I
your
guess
life?
like we wouldn't know. Maybe my left hand is incredible.
good point.
But I've never tried it. I've never driven a Bentley. I've never written with my left hand.
Rocky Balboa did it in Rocky 2 versus
It could be
Apollo
top tier.
Creed.
And how'd that work out? I never saw Rocky 2.
He beat Apollo, so yeah.
Right, okay. Well, there you go. And he lost in the first one, so yeah, I guess that all evens out. All right! That's enough talk about which hand is the better hand. It's time to get into game number 1. Avant, confident?
I mean,
Cocky.
always quietly confident, but Chiefs have always been one of the kryptonites of AV through the OPL, not just through this split, but even last split. They were 3-0 against us, so very hard team to beat, and I think it's because they're just so good when they get a small lead.
And do we know who Chiefs are bringing?
Yes, they're bringing Swiper and Claire. So same roster as yesterday.
Alright.
No sort of switch ups. Going to be back-to-back.
No TN.
Yeah.
Cool. So this should be a cakewalk. You saw this yesterday. Just do the opposite of whatever they do.
Yeah,
be
man.
the left hand to the Chiefs' right hand.
Just
That-
be
that's the
Ben
key.
Simmons left. Yeah, look, it's still going to be a hard game, but I think Chippies will have a bit more confidence as well, perhaps, in this one.
All right, let's dive right into it. We've got the desk. You already saw them. It is Spawn and Pulse, and it is the Macca's Champ Select.
Thank you, Nick. How are you doing today, Spawn? Because you didn't have to take a flight today. You just got up and walked here.
That is technically true. No flying for me today.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm in a strange mood today. Bryce said I was in a strange mood yesterday, but I thought I was in a good mood today,
Okay.
and now I'm just in a strange mood. And you got something on your microphone.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, just strange mood all around.
Yeah, because usually you do something. Is this still something now? What is that?
I don't know.
Usually you do something in the morning, right? Because you have time. You like wake up.
Yeah,
and-
I generally go for like breakfast with a friend or something,
Yeah.
or like go to gym sometimes.
Mhm.
Although not very much lately because I'm trying to get fat. Some people have like aspirations to get fit and back into shape, but my aspiration at the moment is to just let myself go, really push the limits to see what Jenna will put up with. So I'm not shaving at the moment. I hadn't had a haircut in a couple of weeks, and I think
Yep.
I'm just going to get fat.
Feeling good? Yeah,
Yeah.
until someone calls you up. Cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe we should all aspire to that. Bring equilibrium to this broadcast. All right, let's get into it. Chiefs and Avant. Obviously, uphill battle here for Avant, facing a top 3 team. And out now the first place team here in the Chiefs as well, as they pretty much beat out everybody around them. So, important game, as we seem to say like in every single game and every single day right now. But Avant right here into Chiefs, it's one of those games we need to try and pick up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was kind of speaking to a couple of the players this morning, and it doesn't really feel like the end of the season, even though it is the end of the season.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got to start looking at it, and I mean this in the nicest way possible. Like, how many games does Swiper got left? Does everyone on Avant play next year as well?
Sure.
We have some veterans coming into the scene. Obviously, we're going to hit on it as we go across the day as well. This is the second last week of regular season. So these guys want to win these games, no matter who it is. Like, you're either looking to be re-signed to your org next year, looking for a new org, or in the best/worst case scenario, you're retiring from the OPL. You want to go out with a bang. All of these games are just so crucial at the moment to have good performances and pick up wins for your team.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great conversation to have, something that we did a lot in the LPL, actually, because, obviously in the bigger league, you have more bottom teams, and you have more players who come in and then want to be re-signed to a team next year.
So I look at people like, Gunkrab, Shock, when they were on organizations like Tectonic, they were winning many games. Obviously now they're on Avant Gaming. They've been pretty much middle of the pack the entirety of the year trying to fight for those upper spots. These guys are certainly ambitious and want to be able to land themselves on a great Avant Gaming squad next year, or, on one of those top teams. So I think that these games become very important for multiple reasons, just because going into off-season, certainly a lot of clubs watching.
Yeah, and I saw the amount of roster swaps at the start of this year here in the OPL, so surely a similar thing on the horizon for these teams. Let's go through some of the bans here. Silas, Camille, and Cassiopeia here from the Chiefs. Avant banning away Zaya, Northwest, and Karthus. We're going to have Gunslingers coming out here. Tristana and Corky, along with Jarvan for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and that is going to be Shock grabbing a Zillion, although Shock isn't playing mid lane. Shock has been playing AD carry, although now that Gunkrab has a Lucian, maybe this is going to be a strange flex situation. Does Dragku play support? How's Dragku's karma go? I don't know, Bryce. Does Dragku play support? He's given me the thumbs down and then a shrug. So I don't. And now he shrugged again.
Maybe.
And there's a riot grid. He's trying to write the draft down. You know what? Bryce may be more entertaining than what's happening on the screen at the moment. Now he's laughing.
Give me the play-by-play. Oh, got an adjustment. He's undoing multiple buttons. He needs to stop. He's down 4 buttons right now, going for the last one.
Do you know, I actually, funny, weird thing. I was taking off my shirt last night after the show.
Okay.
And I started unbuttoning my shirt from the top. Then I got to kind of in the middle, and I was like, you know what, this technique isn't working for me. Then I started unbuttoning from the bottom. Then I tried to take my shirt off, but I'd missed a button in the middle, so that my shirt was still done up. And I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, what are you doing in life? It was one of those real moments where I just questioned so much.
I mean, we've already had the conversation that, you know, you're letting yourself go, the beard's growing out as well. I imagine that just physical image right there in that moment was something to behold.
It really was something. Didn't know whether I was proud or ashamed of myself.
Well, let's see if we're going to be proud or ashamed of what we're seeing here in the draft. Gragas and Alistair from Avant, and Sejuani and Aatrox band from the Chiefs. I'm going to have an elite pickup actually here as well from Avant. So trying to figure out where all these picks are going to go, and the Chiefs picking up Kennen.
Yeah, Kennen, really interesting. That's going to most likely be Swiper's Kennen. He's a big AP Kennen player, although has played at AD on hit lately. That means maybe Ray's grabbing himself, the Tristana and Corki going to Claire in the mid lane. Probably the most likely scenario here. Ayla, gonna have to reach for a support. Nautilus, Gragas, Alistar all gone. Maybe a Braum, Taric, and no, that's going to be Jarvan support.
Okay, yeah. So Olaf pickup almost certainly going into the jungle with presumably, yeah, Jarvan support. Potentially meeting what Avant have here as well. We saw yesterday Avant's opponent's bombers, you know, adapted into the bottom lane, didn't bring like an 80 carry to the draw, brought out a Vladimir to meet, because you know that Shock and Gunkrab are going to do something a little bit different. This would be very different. Urgot comes through.
All right, so both teams with very interesting drafts so far. That's going to be Dragku's Urgot in the top lane. He seems like he has a big grin on his face, very confident coming into this one. And Chippies is going to play mid Lucian.
I mean, we have 20 seconds to go with Karma, Zillion, and Lucian, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see one more swap. We see the last swap there from the Chiefs.
Or Chippies is playing 80... No, but he's got an Ignite. So, like, that has to be mid, which means Shock's playing 80 character, like, Marksman Zillion. That sounds terrible. Like, that honestly... Like, Zillion has very low lane pressure. If Jarvan gets level 2 and Tristana gets level 2 and jumps on them,
they die.
I don't know how you actually get out of that scenario, because you definitely don't do enough damage.
What do you think, Bryce?
Can you get me a drink, Bryce? My cup's over here. Just a water, please.
It's a shrug and a yes.
I like Bryce. Bryce has been in a good mood for the last 2 weeks.
That's true. Yeah. Something's clearly gone very well.
Yeah, and I'm torn because, like, I do like Bryce, so I like when he's happy, but I also like when Bryce is unhappy. So it's kind of a win-win for me, but he has been very happy lately.
It's true. Maybe too happy. Maybe we need to
Maybe we need to bring him down a peg.
I feel like it's our responsibility as colleagues.
But this should be a fun game. I don't really know what's going to happen, but I think it should be a fun game.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on here. We have Cyclone on the desk. Maybe shed some light on what's happening here. Talk to us about the draft and what you guys were doing and what we're seeing from the Chiefs as well.
We're summoning a raid boss.
You're summoning a raid boss.
Yeah.
Who's the raid boss?
Is it Urgot?
Is it?
Yeah, it's Urgot.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how do you... Like, Voyboy has his lab, right? And then, like, Flandre, he just played anything.
Sure.
But how, as a team, do you sit down and you say, this eclectic bunch of heroes is what we're taking to the Rift this weekend?
Well, usually you kind of start with like an end goal or an idea. So, like, maybe you say, we think some combination of 2 champions is insane. So, in this case, like, Urgot as a raid boss with things that make him faster and unkillable. And then you kind of just like flesh out. You figure out, okay, so like that's the end goal, and then where is the what are the moving parts that we can kind of like fit around that to make it work? You know, like where do we need the priority? When, you know, like do we need stuff to help us get through early game, or do we want something that's like an insurance policy as scaling for late game? And you kind of work out where the degrees of freedom in the comp are, and then you figure out how you want to draft it.
And so do you do it for team specific, or is it an idea, and then when the draft allows the idea to come to fruition, then you just unleash the trap?
It's kind of a bit of both. It depends a lot on the nature of the idea. I've had specific drafts where I've set up very specific combinations of bans to trap teams into doing something in the past. And then other times it's just, oh, we just have this niche idea that we've just been sitting on for a month, and then we just happen to know that when these combination of things happen, now it's the time to bust it out.
And obviously, if there is a time to bust out something you think is going to work, second last week of the OPL, when Avant really need to pick up a couple of wins, seems like a good time. How is the attitude in the camp going into these final 4 games for the boys?
Everyone's really focused on just making it work. Yeah, I mean it's been pretty tough, and we haven't really met our expectations. But they're just kind of going away from each game and going, okay, like, what do we need to do to fix this? You know, and I think there's been a lot of learning going on.
I actually want to go back to, you know, comp a little bit here and just go into specifics, because we're talking about, like, you know, high level strategy, going down into specifics. Like, what did the Jarvan really do to, you know, like the composition right there? Was it like expected? Was that like into your composition? Did that bother you at all?
No, the Jarvan I don't think is like particularly a problem. I mean, Urgot likes things that want to get in close, as does most of the rest of our team. We knew that they would potentially flex it, so we just we had to leave that open as a potential thing that they would do, and so we had to keep banning junglers and stuff to respect that as well.
And specifically like an Urgot question, right? Because like I've been long-term Urgot player, and it's like a very like classic pick when you look at like it used to be picked top lane. We saw it jungle once this split, and now it's the first time we're seeing like jungle. We're seeing it top lane once again. Like of all the champions they could possibly pick, as like we're picking this one as the raid boss. Why Urgot?
Well, they picked Kennen, and it sometimes some of the raid bosses have a bad time against Kennen. So so this was the thing that met the requirements given to us by this game.
Cool. And it's also in the hands of Draku, so you definitely have the confidence there as well, I assume.
Yeah, he's apparently a bit of an Urgot fiend, which I didn't realize, but having 2 Urgot fiends on the same team is always a good time.
Who's the second? Shock?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say,
not
like, are you
surprising.
throwing chippies in there, or?
Well, Shock is a bit of a pioneer when it comes to Urgot, really. He played a lot of that when he was in Korea last year, so.
Certainly did.
Cool. All right, thanks for joining us, and we'll let you go, and best luck in the game.
Thanks, guys.
I was really confused what was happening there. Apparently there was just a slight pause.
Yeah, we had a small delay. We had a player not able to load into the game, so it was just a quick turn it off and on again of the computer, and here we are.
And, just swapping over the
Thank you,
Zillion,
observers.
and yep, there we go. So I'm really interested
fixed.
to see how they actually do get priority in this matchup, right? Because obviously they're going to expect Lucian to be able to push. Lucian's biggest weakness in his push is his mana constraints. If we're going to be like completely honest, he is quite a mana-hungry AD carry, and he's going to have to dash forward onto the Corki. Bottom lane, I don't think they can get push. I would love to be proven wrong on this one, but that's going to be a Spellbook Jarvan that has a lot of kill threat, and a Tristana with a ton of kill threat. So I think that's going to be quite hard to get push in the bottom lane. And then top lane, I don't know if anything does beat Kennen at the moment. So I'm interested to see how this matchup goes, Bolts, because historically certainly was a bit Urgot favored, but ever since they put the shield on the E and you have to E forward, I feel if Kennen dodges out on that, you just beat up the Urgot a little bit. So very, very unique draft coming out of Avant here. Thank you very much, Bryce. And I want to see if they can make it work.
Yeah, a bit of an invade here by Mirror, going to get caught out by Claire as he rotates. Only also coming down to his Raptors. Only got, I think, yeah, a Raptor, maybe not any at all, as Only will go onto this one. Yeah, interesting. I think like a lot of picks will go even with the Kennen right now. You know, I think towards like Nico, Corki even into top lane.
Yeah, Nico, Corki, and Ryze are like the 3 best picks into it, for sure.
So do they win? No. Urgot, I mean, like, he's gone through many different iterations of, like, how you play him top lane, right? It used to be, like, Q-Max, Comet used to be a thing. Now it's, like, more into, this is very much like Raid Boss, exactly as Cyclone was going, Conqueror. So looking for specifically, like, mid-game skirmishes, late-game team fights. And I think, like, the fact that Swipe has just gone Klepto understands that this lane is going to be him with natural advantage, able to get a lot of value out of the Klepto, and got not really looking to punish a lot of the time. Even with Jungle Gank, I don't really see them being able to lock down the Kennen either.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kennen can just kind of ulti and walk away from a lot of the ganks that are going to come out there, although good burst damage is available. Mirror are only going to run into each other here. Both have Smite up and available.
Yeah, both double buffs. Swiper coming down as well first, so should be able to secure this once Smite comes across, and Mirror will just back away. So at least has information where the enemy jungler is, but won't be securing this one. That being said, got Raze and Ayla just also taking Crab on the bottom side.
And Mirror has no camps left, Pulse.
No, it does not. It does
Which
not.
is a
So
real
he's looking
shame.
towards top lane, which has been pre-warded, and Swiper will see this one. Well, kind of what I meant by, like, ungankable is, like, pre-6, yes, you have, like, Cocoon, but Disdain has such a short range on Urgot, and he's such a slow champion and doesn't have means of really passing through minions, you know? Like, you think of champions like Alistair who are able to, like, hit, trample, walk through minions. You know, Urgot doesn't have that. So, initial saying is way ahead of time, or you have ultimate for the slow. Like, a gank realistically isn't going to happen. Bottom lane, Raze and Ayla jumping onto Shock. Gonna get the flash out there, and the heal, actually, from Gunkrab. So, nice little trade.
Yeah, it certainly was, and this is what I was saying. I just don't understand with flag and drag forward how you actually get out of that game. Or that, I guess, trade
Just
setup.
lane trade, yeah.
Yeah, you have to kind of flash, as we saw there. That means they're going to get a reset in here. Also, Spellbook user means that Ignite going to be up and available for the next time they go for this one, most likely. Real, however, problem here right now is Ella actually caught out.
Yeah, completely caught out. Stun comes across from Mirror as well, and that's first blood going over to Gunkrab.
Yeah, and that was a strange decision from Ayla because Raze had backed and Ayla hadn't decided to go with it. I wanted to go for a deep ward so they could continue to push up and hit the turret. I felt like they had a lot more control, but they had to know that Mirror was on the bottom side of the map because Chippy's had taken his Raptor camp, so only camp going to be available was obviously going to be that Grom.
Yeah, bit of a pause here. Maybe the same issue that we had before. So got a ref seeing what's up. Yeah, before it was just a problem with loading into the game, so probably going to assume it's a different issue.
Yep, that makes sense because I've seen everyone move at least once.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say that it's probably something else. Maybe a peripheral thing.
Yeah, potentially have to check it out. But what I was saying there is the Chiefs had done a really good job of controlling Miru's path. So with the power they had on the top side of the map, they had all the ability to late invade. So you have to be able to say, okay, with our composition, you know, going into something like an Olaf and a Cannon, who are very good level 1 on top side, can we match that? Absolutely not with an Elise. So we're going to have to cede top side control. Can we invade bottom side? Probably not into a Tristana Jarvan. They have a really good level 1 as well. So instead, we're going to start our blue buff, and we're going to go Machete clear, which is the quickest clear on Elise, and we're going to go buff to buff and try and trade camps, you know, split the map. Hopefully, we can use our Lucian to get some good mid lane priority. That means they won't be able to kick us out of the jungle. Well, even against that priority, Corki was able to dip into bottom jungle, force Miro off those camps, which meant only had such a big advantage. Level 1 clear. I think he was up 15 CS, which is, you know, like 3 camps. They'd also counter jungled away bottom Scuttle Crab. So they knew exactly where Miro was going to go. He had to go to his Grom because it was the only camp left up and available, which is why it's so strange that Ayla got caught out there. Because you should know exactly where the jungle is pathing to, right? Spot on top lane, you have to assume recalling after that. So Chiefs have done like every single step right to have the hard punish, but then giving over first blood kind of gives all the gold back to the Elise, and all that hard work of setting up the trap, setting up the level 1 plan, kind of undone in the end by some, you know, strange decision making from Ayla.
Yeah, I would say just by the positioning of Ayla, it was just like maybe it was off by 5 or 10 seconds on what, you know, the mental timer was, and just wanted a deep ward for like actual, you know, concrete vision, and the Elise isn't like ganking a lane. But yeah, I mean, like going straight back over to Avant right there is definitely very nice. Gold being funneled into bottom lane as well, obviously having a rough time with the matchup. Because what was interesting is, like, asked Cyclone about, like, you know, what do you think about the Jarvan? Didn't even touch lane phase. Went straight towards, like, composition, thinking about the Urgot and how the comp's going to work. And it's, like, almost by taking that problem off of the board now, kind of, like, yeah, mitigates all of that pressure that we were just talking about.
Yeah, and I'm actually really curious about the Jarvan as well in the composition, just because in my head, if you got this whole game plan built around, you know, the Urgot being able to get in, Jarvan ultimate flag drag out is a serious problem if the Urgot doesn't have flash.
Yeah.
He just gets stuck in there. Then you have a look at the range of Tristana and Corki. Urgot's going to really struggle to get onto these carries with any form of terrain. And obviously you have the artificial terrain and all the CC that's going to come out. So I think it's just such an interesting kind of way to think about it, because in my head, sure, it looks like the Chiefs comp can go forward, but they also outrange so greatly.
Yeah.
And then they have things like Olaf, Slow, you know, the Cannon Ultimate, the Flag and Drag, plus the Cataclysm to provide all these great peeling tools, not necessarily just diving tools. Some of the best dive champions in League of Legends are also the best anti-dive champions because of how their kit works in a defensive manner.
Yeah, I'm very interested just in how it actually works in execution, right? Because like I think there's almost a threshold of like it's kind of like the volley bear principle of like volley bear like literally can just run you down from tower even if you see him, you know, and like he hits a certain threshold where he's able to meet you like halfway through the lane. But if you don't have that degree of movement speed, then the enemy disengages or they just permanently outrange you, right? So there's a world which like yes, this Urgot has so much movement speed, he just gets on his target no matter what, and has enough tankiness to just literally blitz through the front line. So I mean, presumably, like, this is a composition that has been tested, so I would expect that's the case. I just want to see if it actually happens in practice versus this specifically, because terrain is going to be the biggest problem.
Yeah, and I wonder how they get it ahead, right? Because there's one thing building a comp around something and saying it's going to have the movement speed to get in, but ultimately, if you've been harassed out of lane, you fall down 50 CS versus a cannon, something like that, which is, in my head, the way this matchup should go, then you're just not going to have the items, even if you do get on someone, to be able to impact that change that you need on the game. So I'm really interested in the Avant comp. As you said, very practiced. They're one of the only teams in the OPL that does run these comps. Like, they're a very comp-focused team, I would say. They used to run things like Kane jungle as well and protect that. So, yeah, I'd say, like, they would be very practiced at it, but I just don't know whether the Chiefs is a team that I would pick my one punch for a comp to go against, because they are very good at adapting on the fly and kind of getting used to comps like this.
Yeah, for sure. You know, like, stylistically, it's just like, it feels to me more like timing than it does like versus team. You know what I mean? It's like week 9, second day, like you only have a couple games to go and you're going up against a top team. If you get this win, like obviously that puts you so far ahead of like your other competitors. So it's like if you get this is a big momentum swing. And I'm trying to think of like mentality of like you go and you're like, well, we tried to invest against this, but like it was the Chiefs at the end of the day, right? Like, instead of trying this against, like, a middle-of-the-pack team and being like, well, you know, maybe we're just doomed, you know? I feel like that's a better way to attack it, at least in my head.
Yeah, I agree. And I kind of, like, I look at, like, what other teams have been able to do in recent weeks, like, you know, going back to the scaling yesterday for the Chiefs. And this has more of that feel to it as well, right? A little bit more scaling. Tristana, Corki. Like, just remind people that going into the final weeks, going into Gauntlet, like, hey, we're not a one-dimensional team. You know, we've been playing a lot of early game, but we do have this ability to play team fights. We, you know, can play the slow, measured control pace. Like, sure, we have the Chiefs' flair of level 2 turret diving you, but we also have the Mammoth control still ready for it.
Yeah,
we think this is all appropriate in a best-of-5 scenario. All of these teams would be looking at best-of-5s, as Raze somehow does.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, coming instantly back into the game, watching Raze dies after Ayla just died in bottom side, getting caught out. It looked like there was a potential dive situation. Muru took some hits. We'll probably see in a second if we get ourselves a replay. But the last point I was going to bring up, right, is the fact that, like, this is being put in the hands of Draku, you know? Like, a new player coming into the lineup very late into split, and, like, this is the man that you're putting your eggs in the basket of, as we, yeah, just trying to get that kill onto Muru and getting caught out in the jungle.
And he actually burnt the flash as well, and wow, Chippy's nearly solo kills Claire, also gets his flash.
Yeah.
Okay.
And looked like that was a 1v1 situation as well. Gunkrab rotating from the bottom lane, seeing if we can get a cheeky Mantra Q perhaps onto Claire here. Only's on the top side, looking for maybe even a dive as the wave is crashing. Opens up with the W, and Chippy's will just straight up get the kill. Only now trying to get some reverse damage onto Chippies as the tower shot comes in. Repel dodging that tower shot out, and Gunkrab supporting Mirror on his way out, and Only just unable to get on top of a champion and finish them off.
Yeah, and I mean, that was a really well-coordinated dive from AV, and now they find themselves up, you know, the 700 gold, the 3 kills, and winning in those lanes that we thought might be a little bit tough.
Bless you. Yeah, I mean, 3-0 start here for AV is, I mean, as good as it can possibly get, you know, and essentially came out of nothing. So, yeah, great start.
And I still don't know whether I can talk yet, because I feel like I have a
second sneeze coming. Are you a multiple sneezer?
Yeah, I am a multiple sneezer. That's a flash.
Bottom lane, flag drag onto Shark, walking it back to the tower. Good route onto A-Lur, stats forwards. Not quite in tower range. But again, this bottom lane, you know, the pressure is still mounting up, and you see, while the kills have been going over to AV, 2 on Chippies, 1 into the bottom lane, Mirror hopping over the ward, spotting that control ward, there is still a gigantic gap between the the quote-unquote AD carry CS.
Yeah, there certainly is, and I think that this is going to be one of those lanes that Shock has to survive until about level 9, and then should be able to gain some form of control back with the maximum rank on the bombs. I'm more interested in like how mid lane and top lane is going, because Dragu's certainly doing a better job than I expected keeping up in gold at the moment, only down 200. And mid lane is a wash for Chippy. He's 800 gold up. Pretty much is the gold lead at the moment for his squad.
Yeah, as much as we're talking about the bottom lane, and that's only 100 gold advantage over 2 Rays. We're still controlling the lane here. Ayla is getting those passive slaps onto Shock and Gunkrab as he walks away, but we'll take a lot of damage there. Mirror actually just soloing up the Ocean Dragon. Nice one to start here, 8 minutes into the game. Chippy's also priority in mid lane, able to rotate down, and this should be an uncontested Dragon here for AV.
Which is crazy to think about, because their jungle at the moment on the side of the Chiefs has a 2-level advantage. Like up 20 CS, but the fact that they have no control over River due to this Lucian pickup is just really nice by AV. They get themselves the first Dragon. They're maintaining their gold lead. And I feel like Only has to get busy, because this Olaf will fall off. He's the one member of the comp that really doesn't go backwards all that well. And you can see that he's repetitively just trying to stick his head into the jungle to find where people are.
We've got Swiper rotating down as the wave just resolving that in the top lane. And you're going to get, it's actually his own ward on this camp. So we'll take this one away and counter jungle this from Miru. So it's been coming down into the bottom lane. Bot lane coming back here with their buy. He's getting himself 1 plate at the very least. And yeah, I am also just thinking about like that top lane, and kind of wanted to see how that one's going, because Cole picked up here by Urgot as well is very interesting to me, and the fact that the Urgot is keeping up like, you know, a wave and a half behind versus the Kennen. I do wonder what's happening.
And it is going to be the AP Kennen coming out from Swiper, it looks like, because he has gone for, or at least the laning phase item of the Gunblade, right? So it's certainly not going to be as much of a punish, and you can see that only playing towards bottom side of the map heavily at the moment means that Swiper, once again, in very Swiper-esque situation, is just seeding pressure up here in the top lane, doesn't want to be dove. Miru hits it
wow,
though.
Stun connects into the Stain follow-up and finds him with the ultimate, grinds him down, and that's a kill over to the top lane.
And Swiper was playing so respectfully, but then for some reason just walked up, you know, tried to take the trade a little bit outside of the creep wave, and that's just an uncharacteristic mistake from the Rock in the top, and he's going to fall down.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, that's something that should not happen, you know? Like, the only gank situation is, like, if you're being run down from enemy tower, but well played, obviously, Tamira right there, threaded the needle through the minions just to find that one place where you could place the Cocoon, gets the kill onto Dracu as well, the carry of the team, working his way towards that Black Cleaver.
And when you have a look at the score, right, I mean, Miru, he's 0-0-3, has been able to get involved in 3 of the kill participations versus Only, who's got 0 at the moment, but is building up that big farm lead. But you have to say, with how these comps are set out, the kill participation is certainly more important at this stage of the game. Only going to be able to take himself the Rift Herald at the moment, which, especially if dropped in Razor's lane, feels like could go a long way to shoring up some of these gold gaps.
And now that I see this 4-0 lead right here, and I see like this composition very much alive across the board, like I feel like AV's comp is coming into focus, you know, like it was a little bit blurry for me coming in. I was just like, I don't quite see like if this will work into specifically what Chiefs have right here. I'm not like criticizing the comp itself. But right now, you know, I'm just like, yes, I can see this hitting mid-game. I can see like an Urgot running at you at 1,000,000 miles an hour and just getting on top of your carriers, and there's nowhere for them to go. You know, Valkyrie's not going to cut it.
Yeah, especially if they get Drake spawns that they need. Like, you know, a couple mountains in Infernals would go like a long way to force Chiefs to fight. Probably not going to be fighting over an air or an ocean Drake, especially against the kind of mid-game spiking comp that Avant have got at the moment. So I think a lot of this game, as everything in League of Legends at the moment, does seem to be up to the fates a little bit. Baron is the one objective you can always force around. It's just whether at 25 minutes, when Baron is a realistic objective, you can get teams to meet you there in a handshake team fight, or whether they can play the map a little bit better. And I do see this Corki, especially once the package is being able to be picked up and brought into team fight, having a much easier job of, you know, split pushing against the Lucian than other champions would be able to have, will be able to outrange him. So yeah, I agree. I think that there is some signs of, you know, positivity here for the Avant composition, but the gold on Therese is always what I speak about. And, you know, once again, Only just past top to bottom, takes all of his jungle camps and going to look to take this turret.
Yeah, it's very, very stark when you look at the gold share specifically to Raze is always in a position where he's able to collect. And 123 farm at 12 minutes is pretty good going. Shelly's going to have a crack at the bottom lane tower as well. Drop it down to 2 plates remaining. And Chippy's going to get himself the crab as well, actually, coming down here from AV. So, yeah, tit for tat. And, yeah, I mean, the Herald not turning into a straight-up tower is obviously good news.
Oh,
Top
Swiper in
lane.
trouble.
Yeah, I mean, that was a potential situation for Draco if he wanted to burn his resources. Probably waiting still for Black Cleaver. Swiper does have the stopwatch now. Went back and got that after that initial gank in top lane.
Yeah, and it's getting a little bit dicey for Swiper because every time he eats one of the Qs, the slow is starting to stack up to the point where he's in trouble of being in danger of being run down. You can see Drago was actually holding onto the E there, didn't want to dash forward, was just looking for harass instead. But the fact that he is completely even in CS with a cull being brought up and doesn't look like Swiper's been able to put too many Klepto auto attacks into him. Really positive sign right now for the Urgot player.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup because Kennen is one of those like, oh, we've got a fight in the bottom side though. Ayla getting dropped to half HP. Dragon has spawns and Oni's on top of this one. And Raze is actually just waiting at the wall for anyone to step up. Has this one warded out. Gunkrab's going to double bomb that one to zone away the Tristana. But, I mean, Raze has pretty much done his job here, and that will be the Mountain Dragon going over to Chiefs.
Okay, very interesting because even though Dragku's in a good spot, definitely could have, you know, just gone back to base, picked himself up a Black Cleaver right now. They decide not to fight this one, so obviously think that they at least need, you know, stacking onto Rod of Ages, something like that, to be able to make this composition work. Because backing away at, I mean, what looked like a pretty 50-50 team fight there for me is a little bit interesting. Maybe didn't want to face check the vision control of the Chiefs, and going to have an Ocean Dragon spawning next, so not going to be a fire or a mountain to fight over. I feel like this is starting to favor the Chiefs a little bit more heavily as the game slows down, as a Tristana is just allowed to freely scale in this bottom lane.
Yeah. Definitely see Tristana as one of the biggest problems right here. You know, Buster Shot is going to be real annoying for, you know, specifically this Urgot to deal with. There's no counterplay to that one.
Even the Lucian. I mean, I always hated playing Lucian into Tristana because she jumps on you, starts autoing, you're very slow.
Yep.
And then she just shoots you away and outranges you, and you struggle to get back on top of her.
Sure. Going to be a full culling here onto Claire. And yeah, it's pretty much put him out of commission here. Low mana, low HP. Just going to go back to base.
However, once again, kind of in a strange fashion, Claire's surprised me because even though 2 kills have gone over to Chippy's, he's completely fine in terms of items and gold and still maintained the flash the whole of the laning phase. You know, going to be able to teleport back here, and he has his Cull about to cash in as well. So he's done a fine job of the core here of being able to, you know, control this laning phase so far and make sure that the Lucian doesn't explode. Sure, Chippy's able to get priority, looking to walk up top for a potential dive, but this could just be the fight.
Only once it hits the Ragnarok button and jumps immediately onto them. Oh my, the damage here from Swiper. Knocks out both of them instantaneously, and now Dragku under attack. And 1 versus 2 gets only with the execute. The fear downs Ayla, hops the wall, trapped him in a cataclysm, but he says, you're trapped in here with me. As Gunkrab comes into the top side, looking for the chase down, waiting on top of Ayla, and has the damage from the leg shotguns. And that'll be 2 kills going back over to AV.
Yeah, really nicely done from Dragku there. He waits around for the long-range snipe. That was so crucial because you saw the fear go into both Raze and Ayla, who had jumped in to that play. Now going to be able to clear out this turret as well. If that had just been a reset with Ayla and Raze both up and available, could have potentially been the siege there. So able to turn that back into a 2v2. Good initial fight from the Chiefs, but very nice cleanup job from everyone else on Avant.
All right, let's see that one again. Only starts this one off, runs at them with Ragnarok, and it looks great. You know, this is almost like an instant 2 kills.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. But Dragku sticking around, snipes him on that vision, and because Raze had come a little bit too close, going to have to jump over this wall. See, the follow-up damage is there, but as kind of alluded to, you're never really trapped anywhere with the Urgot. Like, he just turns around, eats you alive with those shotgun knees, and Swiper a little bit slow to rotate into that top lane play. Jump on him.
Definitely did do so. Flag, drag, shock, hits the ultimate, and is now able to buy a little bit of time. We can throw those bombs at point-blank range. Miro comes up there as well and defends his Zillion. And it will be Swiper getting the tower on the opposite side of the map here as Chippy's also rotates towards the top lane. And just live to see another day.
Yeah, you see they had actually pulled Dragku towards mid as well, potentially looking to force a fight. However, Chiefs just respect numbers and back away from all control. That's really nicely done from Raze, keeping Shock alive, because that means that Shock has to burn through every single charge of his corrupting pot. The idea there is if I kill him, he just comes back full health, full mana, right? Whereas if I leave him alive like that, did have to trade flashes with the Elise in case, you know, Zillion turned around and was able to assist in that gank. But I think Raze is playing this matchup quite well and always has been one of the smarter AD carry players, I feel like, in the league. Doesn't just out-muscle you mechanically, but does really think his way through a lot of these matchups.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like almost internationally, that's a rare breed of AD carry, in all honesty. You get so many, like, look at this AD carries mechanics, and you just see, like, the highlight clips left and right, but very few of a Raze type player left in the world. And yeah, I'm looking towards, you know, obviously the linchpin of AV once again, Urgot, moving towards what looks like a Death's Dance now. And this is a build obviously you almost never see because you're not, you know, you don't have the Urgot being the central part of the composition with multiple shields and multiple supports around you. So you actually get to go for like the full damage build and all of the offensive items. And it's something that you don't think about, but like Urgot has extremely high ratios, you know, like the amount of damage he will do from his passive alone, the fact that when you hit like a certain breakpoint, he'll have a 2.5 second cooldown on his knees. So when you get into team fights, like you'll get consistent damage in a 360 radius. And with that scaling combined and the fact you'll probably go like triple damage item, it'll be quite monstrous as Chippy's just straight trades up with Claire in the mid lane and Claire will get the kill on the tower.
Nicely done from Claire there as well, because he knew he had that kill, just stands and delivers on the Corki. Dashing into Corki's Gatling gun is honestly one of the scariest things because he just shreds away all your armor. You know, those Ninja Tabbies next to useless against the Corki at point blank range like that. Just able to weave in the necessary shots. Dragu, however, just, you know, once again staunching Swiper off this mid lane wave. But I feel like you only get a certain amount of mistakes versus the Chiefs. You know, contesting that blue buff even gently and then getting run down by only. That's mistake number one. You give 2 kills back over. Dashing onto Claire. Now he's got a 20 CS lead. Picked up that turret as well. That's mistake number 2. They're falling down 1,000 gold. They're down a dragon right now as well, Avant. And once again, even though I don't hate their comp, it is a very medium range comp that will struggle to get into the Tristana, into the Corki, who now has 2 items. So I think that they have to be very wary about how many more resources they give over to this Chiefs Esports Club lineup. Yeah,
for sure. It's kind of like a 3-strike policy, you know? And yeah, it's very concerning right now with Corki just picking up 2 major items with Triforce and Infinity Edge complete. Bottom lane, you know, Raze is just farming up a Storm, has picked up the Blade of the Ruin King, plus has boots and also a pickaxe. So both carries in a real good position right now.
And I wonder what Raze's build is going to be, because I've seen a lot of Blade of the Ruin King into Infinity Edge, into Essence Raver. Corki, as Chippy's face checks again.
Black Drag first steps up underneath the Gatling gun and underneath an Olaf, who will finish him off with the undertow. Backs away from this one as Shock comes in with the teleport, and as does the Urgot. AV are looking for a fight right now. Claire is low and within kill range. He will be dragged in. Fear Beyond Death gets that one, but no one in range for the Fear. And there's a fast Urgot running towards Ayla. Buster shot for the disengage here by Raze. And Ayla has to cleanse out of that one as well.
Yeah, and they don't send Swiper in for the flank. Does have the teleport available, does have the flash, and they ran over towards their pulse. But you can just see the Chiefs saying, no, keep the map big. Don't funnel into the Urgot. This is their game right now. So they just disengage. Now the Siege is going to be on mid lane. Teleport ward also once again there for Swiper, but once again choosing not to go for it.
Takes down the mid lane tower very quickly. I mean, Purge, when you have a lot of AD as well, does a lot of damage to towers. It's always more efficient to hit Purge when you have less than 1 attack speed on Urgot, and then past that it's less efficient. But yeah, right now 4-0-0 on this pick, and the type of pick as well that's very difficult to move into, you know, much like a Zaya or much like an Alawi. So if AV gets to these objectives first, you know, Draku could do some serious damage.
Yeah, also has like surprisingly low cooldowns as well, because he always gets 40% cooldown reduction in his build. You know, going to have something like the Run Fast, Righteous Glory, has to obviously go towards Black Cleaver. It just synergizes so well with the W. Throw something else like a Death Stance in there, you know, just cap out CDR and pretty much your first 3 items every single time you play this champion. And then has the luxury of being able to go very tanky items, you know. Becomes a big beefcake brawler with a full revive passive. Obviously, armor just going to be outright the best stat this game for him to go towards, as well as MR, given the fact that, you know, Shock's going to bring him back alive in a lot of these encounters. So, yeah, really interested to see how they navigate this one. Also, it does Baron really quickly. Don't talk about it much because it is a strange thing, but Shotgun knees versus Baron, very, very high damage.
Percent damage. just run around monster objectives and you do so much. And yeah, when you actually get to 2.5 CD, you can do a full loop, and by the time you get back, you have all your legs back and you just keep circling.
Yeah.
So yeah, in quite a good position. It's actually moving towards more of Mount Mortius, has picked up the Hexdrinker plus an extra longsword.
Okay, that's very interesting.
I
I
think-
would have thought like Adaptive Helm is just outright a better item on Urgot than more of Mount Mortius.
I think he's purely thinking about like the extra damage you can get from these items. You know, if you can double up on extra damage plus, you know, anti-burst. Like I was kind of thinking like maybe Sterak's, maybe more would be his next item. He goes the Hexdrinker route because I think he's specifically looking towards like the upfront damage from like Claire Swiper, right? And then he's like, I can survive the rest with Death Stance and shields.
Yeah, but Corki's auto attacks do get reduced by Abyssal, not Abyssal, Adaptive Helm.
Adaptive, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just such a real, and things like Corki that has recurrent damage, like just such an efficient item, I feel like, against the Chiefs comp. However, with Drag Q bottom lane and no teleport, Chiefs just pull the trigger on Baron.
Yeah, jumped over right here. I mean, AV are aware, but it's already gone right here. Jumps over the wall, and it will be
Swipe is
secured
dead.
here by Only. And Swiper, yeah, jumps over. I mean, he did the job of stalling him away, but I think the Baron was already dead at that point. At the very least, it's a clean getaway for the rest of the Chiefs here with the Baron buff.
Yeah, it certainly is. So Swiper not having the best game so far. 0-2 has fallen behind in CS. Kind of reduced to the side lane Swiper again, and you can see head in hand on the player cam there. That's his teleport gone. But still, 4 members of the Chiefs alive with Baron is certainly a good news story, because that was the objective that Avant wanted to force around. And Chiefs obviously very good at spotting that, take that away from underneath their nose.
Yep, in a great position now, the Chiefs. It's, Dragon now spawning. Would be a Cloud Dragon here. Can grab around the area. And yeah, you know, we're in a game where AV were picking up a lot of kills, good skirmishes, but Chiefs are still very much ahead in terms of gold. The Baron helped out a lot, but it's the farm difference I'm looking at, you know, specifically in the mid lane and AD carry positions, which are just getting more and more out of control now.
Yeah, even the jungle position, right? He's still 40 CS up in jungle camps. Has started to do a better job of getting to these fights as well, Only. However, now being engaged on.
Mirror, yeah, finds the cocoon, forces the Ragnarok from Only. It's going to be a nice ability just to have off the board right there. Claire split pushing now in the top lane. There's some big crits coming through. And Raze is going to find himself in the enemy jungle here with Ayla just warding up. Draco trying to get towards this wave as well. And yeah, it does feel like now that the map has opened up, you know, this is the big question. Can AV really get on top of the, you know, on top of Chiefs? And I'm not sure if I have an answer to that question.
And this is a really tough point in the game, right? Because the Chiefs make the map big here. You know, they've got their 3 teleports. They're going to just drag you lane to lane. They're going to make you rotate. You're going to start missing out on farm. You're going to start missing your jungle a lot if you're Miru. But at the same time, as soon as they take these 3 outer turrets, the map becomes quite small again, you know, until the next Baron. They can only really siege the base. You've got yourself some pretty good wave clear on things like the Zillion. Lucian also pretty underrated wave clear in my opinion. Draco's still not yet level 16, so this is the window for the Chiefs to extend their lead. And Avant, in my opinion, shouldn't be looking for anything. They should just be battening down the hatches, getting as much farm as they possibly can. And then when the map is small again, you know, when they're sieging the base, going for those fights.
Oh, good crap. It's breaking the time continuum right there. Gets the stun down once again onto Only. Has Ragnarok back, but chooses to burn the flash. Ayla retreating with him, but Draco is coming in for the wide flank right now. Looking to cut them off. Comes in with the Cataclysm, trying to trap the Urgot, see if he can get Only out, but he turns around onto Miru, trying to get a kill in return, but Draco gets the first. This is the ultimate, but now that's an Olaf and the run, and nowhere to go. Another 2 kills over to AV, but mid lane, big reaction play here from the Chiefs. They'll find themselves mid lane tower.
Yeah, they do. However, that is still a couple of summoner spells burnt and another Baron or 2 off the map right now for Avant Gaming. And you know, I said batten down the hatches. Well, trading at this stage of the game is certainly a good thing, especially if you can get the kills towards your Crab God. And Dragku starting to look very, very scary. You see, could not be stopped in those chases, you know, just zooming around the map. Now does pick up the level 16. Certainly has enough gold to go back and finish his more at the minimum, you would think, 1,400. Absolutely, that is done. And he's got the most gold on the map, along with Corki. So he's in a good position to be able to carry this game with the tools.
Yeah, I think that when we get to 5v5s, though, that will be the real tell, because they didn't have all the tools to like specifically deal with the Crab God. Buster Shot and Maelstrom are going to be 2 massive things here that will potentially shut down Dragku, but still finding these skirmishes and putting themselves in these positions which are win situations AV. Obviously a big deal. Claire split pushing in top lane will pretty much just get this tower right here. The rest of AV are actually pushing mid lane inner here. Raze is actually able to step up on a flank and clear the minions, hops away with the rocket jump, and opens up for Olaf to walk forward, but he takes a bunch of damage. Claire is still top lane, now sieging the inhibitor tower in top lane.
And Corki does turrets so quickly, you know, with the rockets just being able to spam out. Will probably fall down on this exchange because you see how deep the flank is coming. Don't really think anyone can get to him in time.
Yeah, Chippies is here, but he
He'll
doesn't have
kill you,
CC,
Chippies.
so yeah, this is not a fight he can take 1v1. He does launch in, though. He has Shock behind him with the ultimate, able to Chrono Shift him out of this one, and also gets the Redemption coming down, so he's able to get the kill in the end.
Yeah, so I like that. Patience from Chippies this time around. Waited till Shock was in range. Thought he was just going to dash forward and try and open up with something like a culling, but instead, you know, plays a little bit more patient, a little bit more of the smart game. You can see he's having a very good performance today, Chippies. However, in saying that, Claire goes back, completes himself a rapid fire cannon, another Zeal, so he's fine. He's also broken the base. Like, this Corki is well and truly in a position to be able to carry this game. We've talked a lot about Urgot, but I don't know whether anyone really does go as well late game as Corki does at the moment. That's why he's such a high priority in, you know, 2 roles.
Yeah, crazy, crazy damage. Yeah, going to be very happy with how that worked as well. You know, 2 towers at the expense of a death when no objectives are up at all. Another minute until Baron and Dragon. So perfect timing really for the Corki to die. And AV will, at the very least, get control over the Baron area before this one kicks off.
Ooh, Draku's got himself another BF sword as well now. Nearly going to be the 5-item Urgot. Probably going to be a GA, you would have to imagine. So going to be very difficult to kill.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that the BF sword will go into. There's no need for crit on Urgot.
Get yourself the Bloodthirster.
Yeah, I don't think Bloodthirster works with Purge though.
What about Shojin?
Shojin would be sick. Actually, Shojin would be...
Can you use Shojin on Urgot? Put your ulti into someone? Because does your W count as auto attacks? Because if it does...
I believe it applies on hit effects, so yes.
That sounds broken.
So that could be... But what do you spam though, you know?
Your E. It's just
Your
such
E?
a big shield.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe it's Shojin. Maybe it's the 4th item Shojin. We'll see.
I'm going with GA, just for the normalcy. But
You've convinced me now. You
I
can't just
wanna
say
see
that
it.
and tap out. Draku just sprints towards Ayla. So much damage actually coming in from the passive. Swiper, Raze, and Claire in with the flank though, and AV will start pathing towards Baron.
Okay, because they haven't got a mid lane wave here, so there's no way Chiefs can go up mid. This has to be a Baron contest, and they know that. You see, they're trying to come from multiple angles. Now they'll try and corral them away from the mid lane wave. Don't know whether Drake can really be stopped here, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of freedom to step further than he would usually be able to on the old Urgot. With these extra
Mirror,
shields.
what are you doing?
Gets half health instantly there from Claire. As you said, we've been talking a lot about this top laner, but Claire has slowly just been mounting up in power, and I think he's reached critical mass now, 3.5 items. Draku's leading this one, kind of looking for this fight, though. He's able to just flirt with the idea of engaging, only on the flank. Gunkrab's going to spot him. And we've got multiple recalls actually coming from AV on vision here from Chiefs. Going to pick out this mid lane wave, but they've actually just straight up started this Baron. Those are members coming back to this one without teleport.
Look at Swiper.
Flag drag onto Draku, forces the flash out and the disdain. Swiper's going to flash after seeing this opportunity to take down the carry. Shock behind him, dragging Draku back into the team, and
They got
he's
him.
dead. Shut down, courtesy of Raze. Flag drag, Ayla looking for more onto Gunkrab, who just came back from base. Flashes out of this one, but Chippies now does get a kill in return onto Only. And Swipe also died in that melee, didn't even see him die actually. So it turns into a 1 for 2 for AV.
Yeah, really nicely done from AV, because that was the main carry going down instantly in the team fight. However, because they still had the ultimate available, Shock was able to bait them in for another round. And Chiefs start up the Baron, but I don't know they can do this.
No, they are very low. Claire is 20%, Ayla 50%, and Raze is the only healthy member right here. So ambitious play, possible with AV just disappear off the map and just, you know, go for a coffee break. But aside from that, not going to happen. We'll now go back to base, losing a bit of tempo here with now AV pushing in this mid lane wave, getting vision at the very least, and maybe setting up for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, they can force teleports right now. You see Draku has his back up and available. If they start hitting, Chiefs have to come and respond.
They have to teleport. This will be, I mean, they have 3 teleports. They have Claire, Ayla, and Swiper available. Here comes Ayla, but it's 4,000 HP. Raze and Claire stepping up. Shock's there. I mean, he's got the bomb line, able to stop all aggression here from Chiefs. And the Chiefs Yeah, not even going to stop the recalls, just recalling slightly out of vision, and AV get away with murder.
Such a great play from Avant, though, because they knew that if Chiefs are teleporting, they can turn so easily onto the teleports, right? Not to mention the fact we already mentioned it, Dragku does the buff so damn quickly. Chippy's also starting to scale into late game, and this Crit Lucian build does do a significant amount of damage if he's able to just sit there and hit. So I really like what's happening right now for Avant. They're showing that even though they're losing a couple of skirmishes, they're able to stick around. They're a very gritty team. Yep. And seem to be doing a good job in this game of controlling the Chiefs' pace.
I mean, to be honest, if we're just taking a step back for a second, this is I would say, like, the slowest Chiefs game we've seen in a good long while, you know? Like, game should be over, you know, like 7 minutes ago if you're against almost any other team in the league. So, at the very least, bringing them to a 32-minute game right here, AV in a good position versus the rest of the teams into Chiefs specifically. Gone back, and it was indeed the GA as you called. Mid lane, crit into the jungle. Zonya's also completed, so big item breakpoints across the board for AV.
And I just can't believe where... Oh, he's in trouble here. Nope, no he's not. They're collapsing.
Yeah, the rest of the team is here, and Dragku is just going to start sprinting towards the rest of the Chiefs who are trying to back off to the tower here. And they won't make it back, but mid lane, they get the opportunity just to push unmolested here. And this will be Claire at least able to step up to this mini wave and eliminate them before they crash into that inner turret.
But Chiefs are going to start losing turrets here. And what I was going to say is when you have yourself raise 100 CS up on Tristana, one of the best late game carries, and you still are struggling in team fight, something has gone very wrong for the Chiefs Esports Club this game. And I think it is the fact that Swiper is down 100 CS and kind of useless in all of these team fights now. It's just going to be a big zoning tool with the ultimate. But, you know, without the flash available, without a proto belt, he's going to really struggle to get in off running it straight down the middle. So we'll see whether they're able to do it, but Dragku cannot be stopped.
And he cannot. Gun Crabs takes a bunch of damage though from Claire. As Benjamin taken out of this one, the rockets flying through a lot of poke damage. At the very least, may stop them from taking mid lane. Now collapsing onto Dragku on the side. Just have this GA though, so he will drop into this one as the rest of AV trying to make their way over. Shock is now in range for the ultimate on to his Urgot. And he will just back away with the shield in hand. And mid lane Chippy's enough time for him actually to crack open the mid lane and move on to the inhibitor itself. Miru gets a great stun down onto Only. And AV managed to actually break open the base.
That was the best scenario for the Chiefs. They chunked out Gunkrab beforehand. They got a really nice engage onto Dragku, who was alone. Shock had to burn Flash before being anywhere near another member to be able to utilize the utility of the Zillion. And they still just walk out without losing anyone and breaking the base. I mean, with both teams having broken the base, this game is now one team fight away from being very, very scary.
We're about to see a duel there in the jungle. It will just be the recall from both parties, not looking to risk it there. But honestly, this is just entertaining to watch as Dragku is going to find himself Ayla. Flag drag over the wall, hits him with one auto attack. But, you know, an AV who are good when running competition like this are just so fascinating and interesting to watch because there are so many things to look at and break down. And, you know, it's because it's a compositional thing versus, you know, we're going to win through lane. This is going to be a purely lane focus and, like, pay attention to us in the first, you know, 5-7 minutes of the game because this is what we're looking for. This is, like, what is this composition going to do, how are these moving parts going to work together, and what are the players going to do in terms of coordination and communication in these team fights because that's the only way that these things work. As Dragku is just running circles around them, disdain. Flash comes out, he gets Ayla anyways, tosses out the ultimate, doesn't connect. And Dragku, no one can really step towards him right now. Now they're stepping up, but he has the Xenon ultimate on him. Chippy's get the first kill. Razor's low. He cleanses back to the fountain. But Claire's and Only, they're pretty much out of this fight here, and Swiper's there to try and defend it. But Dragku and Shock, they're hungry for blood right now. And AV are potentially looking for the game here, Spawn.
Yeah, and Swiper just didn't have ulti for the fight, so now he has it up and available, but can he even make it work?
Shock finally dies to the hands of Claire. AV maybe tunnel visioning on this one because that's a big ultimate out from Swiper. Now 2 versus 4. Can Dragku pull this one out? No, he cannot. Miru's dead. And Chiefs wipe out Avant.
And look at all the teleports coming into the top lane. That just might be the game. You see Dragku head in hands, and the Chiefs might have just done it.
And literally 20 seconds ago, I said the same line for AV. Chiefs wipe them at the base, teleport to top lane, and straight up reversal, move on to the Nexus turrets, and the Chiefs have shown resilience and will take down AV.
I have no idea how that game just turned on a dime. And I think the fact that Swiper didn't have ult at the start of the fight just won Chiefs the game. Because Avant had honestly discounted it. They let him get into the backline. That was a 4-person ultimate. The Rock in the top cleans up the last team fights, but boy, that was a very close call.
I mean, that was on a nice edge, you know, like by the skin of their teeth, Chiefs won that game because that was an extra kill onto a carry. If Claire died there underneath tower, game.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
I mean, Shock went so far forward to try and stop the recalls that he ended up falling down, and we spoke about it. This Urgot needs all that utility to be able to get him in. Needed the likes of the Zillion as well as the Karma up and available to help him out. As soon as Shock falls down, Team Comp missing one critical piece, and that was one auto attack on one Nexus turret away from Avant, cracking everything in the base and taking that game. But we always say this about the top teams. The game's not over until you destroy the Nexus, and Chiefs really do show that game.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just insanity, you know? Like, I can't imagine what it feels like to even be a player on Avant, you know, right there. It's like, literally, this is like a game right in front of you.
This has really been a roller coaster week and a half for Avant.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you look at the Gravitas Baron into what happened yesterday when they were so far ahead in the Dragon fight that happened, this game, they control it for even longer. Like, they're in it right until their Nexus dies in the end. You know, I said, as soon as both breaks are broken, that is a one-team fight game. Then the Chiefs somehow win that team fight when it looked like Dragku was unstoppable on the Urgot and just triple teleport into top lane, edge that one out. But my goodness, you cannot have a closer game of League of Legends.
I mean, the consolation here obviously is like that was the closest game I think we've seen against Chiefs in a long time, to be honest. But I mean, like, no one on that team's going to take away that part,
I mean,
right now in this moment for Avant.
I mean, when you're standing one game clear of the rest of the pack of about to fall out of Gauntlet, like, there is no consolation prize. It's like you get points or the game sucks.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, when you go 0-2 on the weekend, the game just sucks. But Chiefs go 2-0 on the weekend, so the weekend's pretty good.
Celebration. For now, we are going to send it over and speak to one of those members of the Chiefs as we send it over to Nick Boy.
Weekend doesn't suck for you guys. That's the takeaway.
Yeah.
Good. Talk me through that game because, like, that was a really fascinating game to watch. There was the scoreboard says one thing, the map says another. The gold's basically equal the entire time. You are off playing your own game for half the time. Like, how do you feel? How was that game for you?
I feel like, okay, so when people say they're limit testing in a game, it's usually like mechanics. I feel like we were macro limit testing. Like, we were just doing all this random crap all over the map. And like, there was a moment where we were just running around the map, like basing, running to the other lane for like 5 minutes straight. And we just gave them a bunch of kills and like free stuff that we shouldn't have. So, yeah, it was a pretty chaotic game. And then eventually, like, we threw too many times that they managed to get banned and then, like, could contest us in a team fight. So we just kind of turtled for a bit. And then eventually we did win.
And how was the last like 2 minutes of that? What was going on in the room for you guys?
I'm not sure. I think most of the comms was just like, we were just commenting what we were doing mechanically. Like, we were just standing next to them in the same lane or like on the same screen. And we're just like, this is what they want to do. This is what we want to do. Like, we were kind of ignoring macro at that point. We just thought like, we need to execute better mechanically and then we can win.
And Dragku was looking pretty scary there by the end of the game. How do you feel he's fitting in AV and in the OPL?
I mean, it's always hard to like say positive things about a team that just role swaps all their players. Like, as soon as I heard that, like even before they showed it on stage, I knew it was happening, and I was just like, this just sounds so like, I don't want to be like toxic or mean, but I just think it's not a good decision.
No, but like you were like, this is gonna play for like in our favor, not
yeah.
yeah.
I just thought it wasn't the right thing, but honestly, he played pretty well today. I think he got a lot of kills and he managed to have a pretty big impact on the game with that. So, props to him.
All right. Well, you guys were dominant. You are dominant. You continue to be dominant. It's an exciting time to be a Chiefs fan. Do you enjoy TFT?
Yes, I do, but I forced myself to stop playing because it was a huge time sink.
Because you actually have other games that you need to play.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Which one is your favorite little legend?
I like the Fury Horn.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it has the most annoying emote spam noise, but I think...
Is that why you like it?
No,
or
not
despite
really.
that?
They actually added the like extra emotes like a patch after, so...
Yeah.
I liked it originally when it literally had like no emotes. There was just like a little side shuffle for it, but I just thought it was the cutest. It's like the closest thing to a dog, I think, out of the little legends.
I would say so. I mean, it's certainly closer than that floating rock thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense. And if you were to add any little legend to the game, what would it be? Like if you could design one.
Ooh. I would just add a straight up dog, I think.
Just a dog.
Probably maybe a
Dashin.
Shiba, a Corgi, or a Japanese Spitz. Or all
Right,
the
okay.
popular ones, yeah?
Okay. I feel like you've thought this through more than I was expecting.
No, I haven't.
No?
On the spot, yeah.
You're just like, but I guess
I
the
just know
answer
what
is
dogs
just
I
like,
like.
Just put a dog in.
Yeah.
Right, okay, yeah, that makes sense. You
Yeah.
just understand your own taste when it comes to
Yeah,
dogs.
exactly.
All right, well, congratulations, Claire. Hell of a game. Exciting times.
Thank you.
We'll be back after this.
For a potential dive, but this could just be the fight.
Only once it hits the Ragnarok button and jumps immediately onto them. Oh my, the damage here from Swiper. Knocks out both of them instantaneously, and now Draku under attack. And 1 versus 2 gets only with the execute. The fear downs Ayla, pops the wall, trapped him in a cataclysm, but he says, you're trapped in here with me. As Gunkrab comes into the top side, looking for the chase down, waiting on top of Ayla, and has the damage. From
Look at Swiper.
Flag drag onto Draku, forces the flash out and the disdain. Swiper's going to flash after seeing this opportunity to take down the carry. Shock behind him, dragging Draku back into the team, and
They got
he's
him.
dead. Shut down courtesy of Raze. Flag drag, Ayla looking for more onto Gunkrab, who just came back from base. Flashes out of this one, but Chippy's now does get a kill in return. Shock finally dies to the hands of Claire.
Viper's
AV
in.
maybe tunnel visioning on this one, because that's a big ultimate out from Swiper. Now 2 versus 4. Can Draku pull this one out? No, he cannot. Miru's dead, and Chiefs wipe out Avant.
And look at all the teleports coming into the top lane. That just might be the game you see.
And straight up reversal, move on to the Nexus turrets, and the Chiefs have shown resilience and will take down AV.
I have no idea how that game just turned on a dime.
You gave me this when we were just 16 years old. Darling, cop up.
A little goes a long way at Macca's. Grab 24 Chicken McNuggets for just $9.95 every day.
An exciting game to watch.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wild one from even Champ Select, right? Because this was like blind pick, like the Triss, Jarvan. Eventually they go on the bottom side. You don't think about those champions doing that. This was Chiefs coming out with some out there stuff, and then AV kind of doing the same thing. But that's what we've expected in the last couple of
Yeah,
weeks.
I mean, Chiefs are one of the only teams that can flex those champions as well. Like, Jarvan is a support for them. Backward Jarvan, for like the 2-week period, he was a support.
Yeah.
Chiefs loved it. Like, they would play it every game possible. So, like, this is one of those things that, while it's no longer in meta, they'll flex it. And, of course, AV just have a bunch of top laners and mid laners playing League in every role. So,
Yeah.
naturally, things go in weird places with them. And, yeah, that was the way it worked out.
Yeah, right. And because like the game even started off in a fashion we didn't really expect. Like looking at the comps, if it went super late, you probably do favor the Triss, the Corki, yada yada, attack speed from the Jarvan. But AV came out of the gate swinging. There was a little hiccup, a couple of Raptor camps, yada yada. But then they getting themselves a gold lead, but eventually just ended up in this weird game of Drag, who is literally a monster on the Urgot.
Yep.
Just like with zillion speed, we were doing like the impressions yesterday, and he's just like zooming around in front line, unkillable, because
Yeah.
it's like, it's not worth spending buttons on an Urgot with a fat shield with a zillion zooming him around, and he could just get revived.
Yeah, it's
and
just a waste of everything.
It was so close to winning them the game.
Oh.
They're in Chiefs base, and yeah, like it's just a tough loss there for AV.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, I enjoyed this part of the split because the other teams are massively invested in other teams' results as well. Because we were sitting in a room adjacent to, I believe it was Mammoth.
Who's Mammoth? Yeah.
They were just like, AV have never had a cheer squad the way that they had with Mammoth. They were shaking the walls.
Yeah, they were absolutely popping off, and they were just screaming drag. Because the thing, like Direwolves, I'm assuming were in the building, and I thought it was Direwolves because
Yeah.
like Diacarb's Dragku, he comes up, and it's like, oh my
Screaming for
god,
the Urgot.
yeah, and they were just screaming Dragku's name the
Yeah.
entirety of that game,
Yeah.
and then like we leave to come down into the studio to get on camera, and Destiny walks out, and I'm like,
You're like, oh.
I thought you were dying. He's like, no man, we want first seed, like we need Chiefs to lose. They were getting behind it.
Yeah, exciting times. All right, let's soothe ourselves.
Okay.
Let's purge ourselves.
I'm ready for some therapy.
I feel like you need to crush some things.
Oh.
So we have a bunch of molding clay. We're gonna make TFT champs. Little legends. And we can make whichever ones we want. So I'm gonna make Feather Knight.
I don't know what they look like.
My favorite. I've got some pictures here. I can get some pictures.
Okay.
Which ones do you want?
I don't know.
I want to. How many segments are we doing this?
Well,
I want to try
we're
build.
just gonna like mess around with this
yeah.
shit for the rest of the night. So you can build your own if you want.
Because I want to build my
You
little,
can make
my
a
little
giant one.
I want to make my little emo dude,
Yep.
and then I want to
You're
make
right.
him with like a not knowing what he is.
Yep.
What I think he is.
Oh, like
and
his
then I'll
progression.
No, I want to make him how I think he
Oh,
is.
Memory.
yes. Yeah,
and
yeah,
then,
yeah, yeah.
and not look at him,
Okay,
and
good.
then I'll have a look and see what I've
Good.
what I've created.
Where you've gone wrong.
Yeah.
What do you want to make?